where we're focused on figuring out the news with time. First, coming up in news, the legal cannabis market was able to increase the GDP, gross domestic product, of Canada by $7.24 billion this year. This is very exciting news for Canada. And with those kind of numbers, we could potentially see Canada becoming a bigger and bigger hotspot for cannabis tourism, and who knows, maybe even cannabis science. So very exciting stuff with this GDP, and I'm sure cannabis will have a huge influence on that next year as well, especially as legal brands start figuring things out a little bit more. Next up, can police really smell cannabis in your car? A new study inspired by an interesting case that took place in America where a couple was actually arrested with 52 pounds of cannabis that was tightly sealed in their car is actually fighting it in courts. A small study was done with around 2 ounces of cannabis looking at different sealing methods. What they were able to find was cannabis sealed in 2 vacuum sealed bags was undetectable to the human nose. Therefore, if cops do come up smelling cannabis in someone's car and it's wrapped in this way, you could potentially fight this in court. Fair warning to those out there using any other methods such as single vacuum sealed bags, Rubbermaid containers, or even Ziploc bags. These containers were still able to detect some smells. Now, this is very good to know, at least for Americans, because within their regulations there is a law called the Plain Smell Law, where cops, if they smell cannabis, have the legal right to search your car. Now, this can easily be used amongst anyone pulled over to suggest that they smell cannabis, and they could easily detect any other drugs such as cocaine, amphetamines, etc. However, with this new scientific research, if you are a cannabis smoker and you are pulled over for these reasons, and you have your cannabis sealed up, you could potentially maybe get off of these charges, knowing that there's some science backed that it was very unlikely that a cop could have potentially smelled that cannabis. So just good to know. Fascinating science coming out of McMaster University, where they discover cannabis can be used to treat an antibiotic-resistant superbug. This specific superbug, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, is one of the most abundant superbugs. It's primarily found in hospitals, transferred from doctor to patient or nurse to patient. Now, the cannabinoid responsible for these antibiotic benefits is called cannabidiol. Now, this cannabinoid is actually non-psychoactive. However, used in high doses can be harmful to humans. Studies where they actually infected mice with Staphylococcus aureus bacteria, they're actually able to bring these mice back to full health using this cannabinoid, cannabidiol. Very fascinating stuff. Now, this is only a study done in mice. They have not done human trials yet. High doses of cannabidiol in humans actually can be toxic. However, moderate to low amounts are totally fine. And when I'm talking high doses, I'm talking doses that are unobtainable by smoking weed or ingesting weed. So with all the anecdotal evidence out there, it's finally nice to have some science to really back what this beautiful plant can do for us. Now, the Staphylococcus aureus bacteria is actually one of the leading causes of infectious death across the world. This pathogen is so deadly, it's on the World Health Organization's priority list as of 2017. Now, this is one of the superbugs that doctors are struggling with drug-resistant infections. Now, over 2 years, these studies were done with mice, finding CBG one of the most beneficial compounds in fighting this highly deadly superbug. They've also found that CBG combined with a specific antibiotic can also reduce the problems brought on by this bacterial superbug. So the next step for these researchers is to start studying CBD a little bit more and finding other molecules that'll work with CBG to actually reduce its toxicity in humans. This way, potentially, we can use CBG in high doses to reduce this bacterial problem. So, very exciting stuff out of McMaster University. They are actually on the leading edge of quite a bit of cannabis research. Very exciting research. Thanks a lot, guys. Our last news segment, we were actually talking about cannabis prices and them being far higher than your average black market. Well, this up in news, there's actually 3 large LPs that have vowed to make some better priced cannabis for your higher consumption users. The 3 companies, Aurora, Canopy, and Tilray, each will have their individual value brands being released shortly this year. This is phenomenal news for those higher consumption users because you can see ounces as low as $100 or maybe even $80. Great on you guys, Aurora, Tilray, and Canopy. You guys are doing phenomenal work. Can't wait to see what you guys come out in the future, and can't wait to see quality buds, guys. Are Canadians drinking less as cannabis gets easier to buy? A new study shows it looks that way. So good to hear that Canadians are spending a little bit less time drinking and a little bit more time hitting those bongs and joints. Some events going on in BC revolved around cannabis this March. The first event coming up is Medical Cannabis in the Trade Industry, Know Your Facts. So for any growers out there looking to make their way into the legal market, this is a phenomenal opportunity to figure out how you'll be able to get into that market and get your craft product to the average consumer out there. The RCMP Crime Prevention Unit will clear the smoke around vaping and cannabis consumption in this new legal market. So for any of you out there looking to maybe open up a consumption lounge or just understand the law a little bit better, this would be a phenomenal event to attend. The RCMP event, Clear the Smoke, will be held in Coquitlam, British Columbia. In Vancouver, CannaReps will be hosting a sommelier level 1 training. Very exciting stuff for anybody looking to basically get to know their cannabis a little bit better, to the point that a true sommelier would know it. Here they will demystify cannabis and take you from cannabis connoisseur to a cannabis expert. Also in Vancouver, a cannabis edibles class will be held. Here you'll learn everything from your basic weed brownies to the most advanced cannabis edibles. And that's the news. Thanks a ton for joining me, guys. I'm DDR002, easy to search. Go and check out my Instagram, where you can find lots of cool new content, mini clips, and go check my story, where I always have fun daily clips of myself doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Have a great day. Stay litty as a kitty.